So hi friends, so in this video we are going to discuss about CPU scheduling algorithms. So one by one we'll discuss. So first we'll discuss about first come first serve algorithm, that is called the FCFS. For this algorithm, what I'm going to do it, I'm going to take four different process. I'm going to take it, that is called P1, P2, P3 and P4, right? For all these four process, I need to get the input from the user, or the while I'm giving the process for the execution, surely I need to calculate all these things, right? So first one is the burst time. I need to find out the burst time for each process, and same time what is the arrival order, and the third one is arrival time. All these things required to calculate two different parameters we are going to calculate it. First one is the waiting time for each process and average waiting time for the whole schedule, right? So first we'll fill out the table for this calculation, right? First I'm going to take that as a processes, that is called P1, P2, P3 and P4. So after that I should have burst time for each process. Burst time, that is called execution one, right? Burst time, so I need to give, so here I'm giving that 10, then after that 3, 4, 2, right? So these are the burst time for each process. Then I need to enter that arrival order for each process. Arrival order, that is called 1, 2, 3, 4. In the same order it's coming. Process 1 is coming at question number 1, and process 2 is coming at question number 2, and 3, 4, like that it's coming, right? So after that I should have the arrival time also. Arrival time, that is, so at the time of 0 all the process are coming inside to the system for execution, right? So here what I need to do it, I need to calculate the average waiting time as well as I need to calculate the waiting time for each process, right? So here I'm going to calculate the waiting time for process 1. You just consider that arrival time is 0. All the process arrival time is 0. So there is no problem with the arrival time for each process. So immediately process 1 will be started executing, because before that there is no process in the execution. So immediately process 1 will get the chance for execution. So P1's waiting time is 0, right? Okay, so now P2's waiting time we need to calculate it. So P2's waiting time is what? That is execution time of P1 minus arrival time, right? So P1's execution time is 10, arrival time is 0. So P2's waiting time is 10. Now we are going to calculate the P3's waiting time. So here P2's execution time plus P1's execution time, then arrival time, right? P1 plus P2's execution time is 13, right? So here arrival time is 14, right? So now P4, if you are calculating same way, P1 plus P2 plus P3, that is called execution time, then the arrival time, right? So P1, P2, P3. So all three execution time is 10 plus 3 plus 14, right? So total 17 will come, right? So here you just we can fill it out like what are the waiting time for each process. Waiting time for each process. So P1's waiting time is 0, then P2's waiting time is 10, then P3's waiting time is 13, then P4's waiting time is 17. Now we have calculated all the process waiting time individually. Then we need to find out that what is the average waiting time. Now we calculated waiting time for each process. Now what we need to do it, we need to calculate the average waiting time, right? So now average waiting time, that is we need to calculate the total waiting time. That is waiting time of P1 plus P2 plus P3 plus P4. So here 0 plus 10 plus 13 plus 14, sorry, 17. right? Now what is the value here? So 10 plus 13, 23, 23 plus 17, 40, right? Now what is the average waiting time? So average waiting time is equal to total waiting time divided by number of process. So number of process means what here? Right here, total number of waiting time is 40 divided by 4. So here, average waiting time is 10. Fine. So this is the average waiting time. So this is how we can calculate the average waiting time for the whole schedule, and same time we can calculate the waiting time for each. Fine. So next video we'll discuss about for shortest job first algorithm we'll discuss. So in this video we have calculated waiting time for each process, as well as we have calculated the average waiting time. So for that what we did it, so we have calculated the waiting time for each process. So started with P1. So P1 directly it's coming and it started immediately. The execution is started immediately. So there is no waiting time. So P1's waiting time is 0. But after that, if you want to calculate the P2's waiting time, you need to add, that is you need to consider the execution time of process 1. Because after process 1's execution only, so process 2 can start the execution. So arrival time is 0, so you can leave the arrival time. So P1's execution time is 10. So automatically P2's waiting time will be 10 here, right? So P3's 10 waiting time, how you can calculate it? So you need to calculate, so P3 need to wait for P1 as well as P2. So then you need to add execution time of P1 and P2. So that is called 13. Then you need to calculate the average waiting time for P3. So here, sorry, P4 you need to calculate it. So what you need to do it, you need to wait for P1, that is P1's execution, P2's execution and P3's execution. So all these three complete process need to complete, then only P4 can execute it. So process 1's execution time, process 2's execution time, process 3's execution time. So what will come? So P4's execution waiting time will be 17. So 10 plus 3 plus 4. So 17 will come. So this is how you can calculate the waiting time for each process. Then you need to calculate the total waiting time. So here you need to add all, that is 40. Then average waiting time you need to calculate it. So that is 40 is the total waiting time and number of processes 4. So your average waiting time is 10. So this is how you can calculate the average waiting time in the first come first serve algorithm.